Thanks for joining us today. We're going to get the show started in just another moment or two. To everybody watching on Facebook or even on YouTube, consider sharing the show on Facebook. That is the best way to grow our little community. A reminder that, as always, Don's live stream is free to all, but if you would like to make a donation, there's information in all of the chats as well as on screen to do so. Thank you for your patience. We'll see you soon.
Welcome, hello, Thursday night, here we go, Thursday night with Don White, still doing it. Woo! Nebraska, Chicago, California, Michigan, Massachusetts. Yeah. Hi Sarah, hi everybody. So here, let me play a few and we'll get started and then we'll see where we go with this thing. I'm going to send this out to Brandon and to Meg. We were talking about this before the show here earlier. Here. From a tax shelter offshore, some kid said my job had been eliminated. He said, thank you for your service and for working so hard. Blah, blah, lie, lie, half truth, blah, blah. He expected me to be petrified, get in the fetal position, start to cry. But I just kept thinking that he was underestimating me. 'Cause my team is on a winning streak. We haven't lost a game all week. Underestimated people are hard to beat. My team is on a winning streak. Every 2 years some brand new guy calls a big meeting to tell us why things will get a lot better now that he's in charge. Blah blah, lie lie, half truth, blah blah. And all the working people try not to grin while they're hearing these promises again. Nothing gets better, 2 years go by and we're sitting at a meeting with a brand new guy. My team is on a winning streak. We haven't lost a game all week. Underestimated people are hard to beat. My team is on a winning streak. He said, what you did to me, that wasn't right. I hired a lawyer and a plan to fight. He said, you are so adorable. He patted my head and he closed the door. The greatest gift they gave to me was to not take me seriously. 'Cause anything can happen, it can happen fast. But no one believes that you have half a chance. My team is on a winning streak. And we haven't lost a game all week. Underestimated people are hard to beat. My team is on a winning streak.
I'm winning now.
You know, this is the best little army on all the internet.
We love you too.
It's so much fun. I just look forward to you guys every week. It's so great. Thanks. Here, that one made me think of this one here. If I can remember how to play this. Maybe not. We'll come back to that later. Da, 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 da. I was born in the city of Lynn, home of the first turbine engine. And as if that wasn't enough, it's also the home of marshmallow fluff. You can travel the whole country, you'll never find a bigger fluff factory. I'm from Lynn, what can I say? People from Lynn just act this way. I don't talk slick like I'm from the Hint. I'm the son of a 30-year GE man. Don't be staring at me that way. I am from Lynn, what can I say? I used to hang around at Barry Park. That's illegal after it gets dark. I would stand on the bleachers where things got smoked and beer got chug-a-lug. Bottles broke later in the evening when the police come. 27 juveniles are on the run. Juveniles are running everywhere you see, jumping over fences, climbing in trees. But Don White is too loaded to get away. His name is in the paper on the next day. Mother and his father just can't believe you would publicly humiliate the family. I am from Lynn, what can I say? People from Lynn act this way. I don't talk slick, that's what I said. I'm not from Swampscott or Marblehead. Don't be staring at me that way. I am from Lynn, what can I say? On the corner of every street, somebody's cooking something greasy to eat. Deep fat is frying everywhere you look. This town is bound for the record books. It's a million sub shops open all night long. A socio-intestinal phenomenon. I'm from Lynn, what can I say? People from Lynn eat this way. There's no room in my stomach for French cuisine. Give me a bag of cheese curls and a submarine. Julia Child, get out of my face. I'm from Lynn, what can I say? I left Lynn 10 years ago. I did not know where I was gonna go. 10 of my friends were leaning up against the bar and grill. 10 years later they're leaning there still. Half of my friends who are not on the street are dead, in jail, or annoying me. And I'm from Lynn, what can I say? People from Lynn act this way. Don't talk slick, that's what I said. They won't even let me into Marblehead. Don't be staring at me that way. I'm from Lynn, what can I say? I'm from Lynn, what can I say? People from Lynn act this way. Don't talk slick, that's what I said. They won't even let me into Marblehead. They're afraid I'll steal something and I might. Don't be staring at me that way. I'm from Lynn, where Sarah used to live. What can I say?
Oh, I love this song.
Am I right about that, Sarah? Did you used to live here? Didn't I see you downtown, down the beach one day or something?
Yes. I used to live on Sluice Pond.
Awesome. Good place to live.
It was.
Yeah.
I liked Lynn.
No, it's a good place. I mean, you know.
When I told people I was moving to Lynn, they were like, "What?" And then I said, "Oh yeah, I found this fabulous basement apartment," and they were like, "What?" And then they saw it, and I lived on a beautiful little pond in Lynn, close to Lynn Woods that Tom was talking about a couple weeks ago. Beautiful place.
You know, Lynn has the largest wood reservation owned by a city in the country. It's 2,200 acres, and we've been fighting to preserve it. You know, every new mayor gets a call from contractors wanting to develop it. You know, so but yeah, it's got some good stuff in it. I got a lot of Lynn in me. Like I'm 5 generations in this town, so how I feel about it depends on how tired I am. Really, if I'm tired, all I can see is how much I hate it, right? But if I'm rested and not too caffeinated and hydrated and all that, then I can I can talk for a long time about what's good about it. It'll wear you out. It's a hard place to live, but yeah, you don't look any worse the wear for having lived here, Sarah. September comes subtle, a chill in the breeze. I reach for my sweater, I know what this means. Warm days are not over, but change has begun. Subtle but steady, the world tilts away from the sun. The summer was fruitful, harvest looks good. Our family prospered like we hoped it would. Our struggles were many, and those struggles are done. Come sit by my side while the world tilts away from the sun. Away from the sun. Away from the sun. Most hardly notice, but we know this change has begun. Change has begun. Change has begun. Subtle but steady, the world tilts away from the sun. On a world full of wonder, we spin through the sky, loving, fighting, growing, and wondering why. While a big ball of fire above us looks down, shining a warm light upon us as we spin around and around. Away from the sun, away from the sun. Almost hardly notice, but we know this change has begun. Change has begun. Change has begun. Subtle but steady, the world tilts away from the sun. Let's spend all the money on laughter and song. Let's dance with these bodies till these bodies are gone. And when it's all over, you will know it is true. My life only had meaning 'cause I got to share it with you. September comes subtle, a chill in the breeze. I reach for my sweater, I know what this means. warm days are not over, but change has begun. Come sit by my side while the world tilts away from the sun.
Beautiful, Don.
That was a nice song.
Oh, beautiful.
Well,
It's not a Lynn song.
that's not a Lynn song, but it's from a Lynn guy. We'll surprise you, you know.
Nice song.
So let's see who's here now. We got some more folks. Those of you watching on other platforms, welcome, YouTube and Facebook. Share it with other folks if you can, so we can. But also, if you want to come here and join the interactive part, as you can see, these folks I can talk to them and everything. You're welcome to do that. The information is in your chat. So this is kind of a tradition here now that I do here early before everybody gets here. So just for my core group here, I'm going to read you something from my book that I'm killing myself trying to finish, right? Can I mean killing myself? Seriously. But so unmute if you want, you know, or it's just so I can feel you during this. So this is what I'm working on now. This book is going to have 5 stories in it. The longest one, the one I'm working on now, which is going to be the title, is called The Hitchhiking Years. My wife and I hitchhiked for 3 years, 3 years over the period of about 5. So for a year in 70, or the whole year 75, a good hunk of 77, and then the whole year in 79. So I'm writing about it and about how I went from being a guy that just liked to party and living in this urban area, and then how the road changed me. So this one I've been waiting to get to this event, because I've been wanting to tell this story for a long time. Seriously. So this is called the Free Camp. And it takes place in Alberta, Canada, in the town called Jasper, Alberta, in the Canadian Rockies. The Free Camp. Checklist of threatening things a person might encounter on a 3-year North American hitchhiking adventure. If you have had the previous experience with any of the following, check the corresponding box. Ignorance? Check. Alcoholics? Check, check. Men trying to get rid of you and keep your girl? Check, check, check. All right, so ignorance, alcoholics, men trying to get rid of you, and the next one on the list is bears. Wait, what? Bears. Well, I've dealt with people with similar intellectual capacities, and with people who would snatch a sandwich out of your hand and dare you to do something about it because they're bigger than you and feral. But actual giant fur-covered, cave-dwelling, hibernating, long-clawed, sharp-toothed bears, nope, never had the pleasure. That's a shame, because when you get to the Canadian Rockies, you're going to meet a lot of them, and the diplomacy skills that you have relied so heavily upon to navigate danger will prove useless, because bears have a voracious appetite for everything except well-reasoned arguments as to why their brutish behavior is hurtful to other mammals.
Jeez.
Between 1973 and 1982, the Canadian government, the mature, reasonable, wonderful Canadian government, provided a free alternate campground for all their big outdoorsy tourist destinations. So they would keep you separated from, if you were like me, you walk, backpack, vagabond, a vagrant, basically. They had a place where you could stay for free that had nothing in it, and keep you away from the tourists that were paying. So we hiked into the Jasper, Alberta Free Camp in early July. There were outhouses and a spigot for water, and to the best of my recollection, nothing else. We walked through this sprawling collection of delightfully decorated campsites that featured a colorful variety of improvised shelters cobbled together with tarps and twine and all manner of itinerant ingenuity. It was like a government-sanctioned hobo jungle without the hobos. We had seen real hobo encampments in freight yards before. We never lingered there. They were intense and bad vibey, but this place had a great feel to it. It was an eclectic assemblage of hikers, woodsmen, and seekers, and being 1975, one would think there may have been a few draft dodgers on the grounds as well. While we were seeking out a spot to set up our tent, we were commenting on how almost all the campsites had lovely glass bottles of different colors and shapes dangling in little bunches on their peripheries. It seemed so artsy to us. A couple of hours after we had set up our tiny tent, two men in their late 20s from Michigan arrived and set up next to us. I was writing deep thoughts in a journal. Teresa was on a tree stump reading a book. Our space had a floating butterfly kind of feel to it. They assembled their camp with a focus and a sense of urgency that was more worker-bee than butterfly. As soon as their tent was raised and secured, one of them emerged from it with a hatchet in his hand and proceeded to chop down a tree about 20 feet long and 6 inches in diameter. He trimmed off all the branches until it was a long pole, and then, through some wizardry that included the use of ropes, slip knots, and the scaling of giant trees, him and his buddy hung a perfectly level 20-foot homemade pole between two giant fir trees 15 feet apart and 15 feet off the ground. You folks have a bear pole set up for your food and backpacks? Huh? a bear what? Bear pole, like this, he pointed. Me and my dreamy flower child looked at each other and shook our heads. No, we don't have one of those. Grab your stuff and bring it here and we'll hang it for you. Again, as if they were living in a time-lapse video, they used rope and magic to hang all four of our backpacks at the center point of the pole because, we learned later, that since the center can't be reached from either tree, our supplies were only subject to pillaging by the type of bears who had a background in tightrope walking or pole dancing. The horizontal kind, not the kind you're thinking of.
Okay, so now I'm thinking of bears doing pole dancing.
I almost did a whole digression on, it's none of my business what bears do with their inside the, privacy of their own cage. But I decided against that. So, as fond as we were of the free camp, our fondness paled in comparison to the affection felt by the community of bears who lived in the area. They saw it as an open-air market of deliciousness. To us, it was a free camp. To them, it was a free buffet. They would go to the big shiny motorhome campground during the day and pose for photos in return for peanut butter sandwiches made for them by tourists. Then unruly gangs of them would come marauding through the free camp at night to pillage and plunder and lay waste to our tarpaulin village. I had never thought about the term babes in the woods before, but that's what we were. Sensing our obvious lack of wilderness training and not wanting to witness a mauling, our Michigan mountain men took us under their proverbial wings. Without their protection and tutelage, Jasper's marauding bear gangs would certainly have had their way with us. That evening, our neighbors gave us a crash course on how to protect our food and our bodies from the local behemoths who were determined to make the gentrifying of their neighborhood as costly as possible. Wear a bell on your backpack when hiking so you don't surprise them. Always hang your food. 3. And remember that the stories about bears smelling and attacking menstruating women have yet to be proven. Okay, good, thanks. That night we were awakened first by the sound of scratching and then by the sound of neighbors chasing 3 bears out of the campsite. Look, here's where they scratched up the trunk of the tree trying to get our food. The bear pole won't hold the weight of a mature bear. They know that, so they send the cubs up to do the job. Okay, good, thanks. The next evening, just after sunset, we heard yelling and what sounded like pots clanging from the far end of the campground. Then we heard someone scream, "Bear dog!" What immediately followed was the sound of a dog barking and an exponential increase in the amount and the volume of yelling and clanging. The glass bottles that hung in bunches on the periphery of the homes of experienced free campers, although quite artsy, were actually an early warning system to alert the camper to the presence of tiptoeing bears. He or she would hear the bottles clink, spy the intruder, and set off a chain reaction throughout the camp by banging two metal pans together while yelling threats and obscenities at the bear and calling for the bear dog. What's a bear dog? Good question. This particular evening, it was an Irish setter who lived for the thrill of chasing a bear through and eventually out of the camp. So, a bear tripped the glass bottle alarm system and was immediately set upon by a screaming, pot-clanging draft dodger and an Irish setter.
Wow.
I'm reading this for the first time and realizing how funny it is. Okay, it was a call to arms. Beginning with the campers closest to the initial incident, residents began yelling and clanging pots to encourage the bear to find an escape route that didn't go through their campsite. Chase them over here! Clang, clang, curse word, curse word. In short order, 300 campers had turned the entire grounds into an obscenity-yelling, pot-clanging, barking cacophony. And we, you know, the babes in the woods, as we stood dumbstruck beside our tiny tent, having no idea what was happening, we saw a big brown bear running at full speed directly toward our camp, while swiping his long claws behind him at a red dog who was having the greatest moment of his life.
Jeez.
Stepped aside and they ran right by us. A few minutes later, the clanging and yelling tapered off and ceased. Everyone went back to cooking dinner. The bear dog strolled back a little while later and accepted words of praise and hero worship from every camp. Good boy, that's a good bear dog, good bear dog. We didn't know what had happened or what kind of surrealistic film we had unwittingly been cast in. But we knew that we had just experienced something that was entirely beyond our ability to predict and that we were a long way from home on many levels.
Oh, that's
Oh,
excellent.
that was terrific.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
I could totally picture that dog's face when you said the greatest time.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey Don, there's a Facebook comment.
When you need him.
Go ahead, Brandon.
There's a Facebook comment I think you should hear. Julie on Facebook's when you're before your story said, "Please don't kill yourself in the new book, especially as that will make for guilt-inducing holiday gifts if we give someone the book that killed you." I think that sounds like a marketing strategy if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. I'm killing myself, but as you can see, I'm having a ball with it too. You know, I have to write about things I don't want to write about how I drank too much in those days and all that stuff. But I'm having a blast with it. I'm hoping I can get it all done. I'm not sure. It may have to be in two parts, but I'm going to try to get it all done without cutting too much out. But it was the more I think about it, the more I can't believe that we actually did it. Would throw us up like the Alcan Highway at that time, which we hitchhiked, right? From Dawson Creek, British Columbia, to the border to Anchorage was over 2,000 miles, and it was a dirt road. Like a 2,000, it was the most impressive dirt road that I ever saw. You know, and it you have to be out of your mind to hitchhike it. There was no stops in between except this town called White Horse, Yukon, which I'll tell you about that down the road a little bit. But yeah, we just would hurl ourselves into these situations and then figure out what to do after, So this business with bears was not something I was equipped for. I could handle, tough guys and bullies and, alcoholics and jerks, but you can't reason with bears. You need an Irish setter.
Oh, that was
Drunken Irish.
Yeah.
We also have a comment on Facebook. Please write the dancing bear digression and put it as a footnote.
You know, I might. Like, my editor gets mad at me when I do that. As like, well, he says you're breaking up the story. Because I'll do that. I'll digress. Sometimes not even. I'll just start talking about how much I hate writing the book. Like in the middle of the story. Like he just totally acts a complete digression that was I was talking about having synonym fatigue. like better word.
John, do it as a footnote, and then the editor doesn't have to read that part. It's just a footnote printed at the bottom.
You know, I might, because I really love that. Like, have you ever heard that before? Nobody ever thought of that. I was the first person to think of that, of synonym fatigue. So that's what happened. Like, you know,
That's new.
what's a better word for spectacular? Do I really have to find one? Can't I just say spectacular? How about spectacular times 10? Will that do? Do I have to spend the whole day in my thesaurus, you know, to think up a word that my friends will have to dust off their dictionary to understand? We'll give some, like, you know, some like a little tingle in the loins of some like professor somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
then you end up with, is he really from Lynn if he's using words like this?
well, you know, people will say that to me, you know, and you know, that makes me think that they don't know much, because there's all kinds of smart people here. You know, we don't show that we can be smart.
Well, you don't show it. Not saying you don't understand it, you just don't use it.
Right. Well, it's not necessary here. It's a liability, right? You know, it's an issue. It's a problem. But some of the smartest people I ever met are here, and they're, you know. But yeah, they also know how to poke both your eyes out too if they need to. All right. So have I digressed enough? Let's play a song here.
Nice story, Don.
Thank you. You know, I'm gonna have book release parties and all that stuff. I'm gonna make a big deal out of this. You know what I'm thinking? Those of you that have business sense, which I don't have any, but I think this is the first time I was telling Brandon this, that I ever wrote anything, or a song or anything that can be branded. Like, if you're a magazine looking and I'm trying to get you to print a piece of this, you'd have to think that there are lots of people who hitchhiked in the 70s and the 60s who would want to read it, you know? And we did it in a very unique way. We didn't just go someplace and get a job. We just kept going. I had my mother mail me checks of $100 at a time. And so so we stretched out the money, and just to keep going, just to keep moving, keep learning, keep meeting people, keep doing things. So it's a unique story. You know, we hitchhiked to Newfoundland later in the next year, and, you know, it's and learned all the, you know, just were exposed to people so different than us. Then when we came back to Lynn, it was hard because we were changed. You know, the world got so big, you know, we just couldn't you know, the old stuff wasn't doing it for us no more. She walked into the room like she was walking off a cliff. In my mind I said, kind of shattered, angel is this? Her walk said, I've surrendered. Her face, I've had enough. Her eyes were holes, they were dark and cold. They said, I've given up. I saw an angel in pieces, as if the pieces all fell from the sky. I said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will fly. You know, life rains down so hard upon some people that we know. It tears their faith and their hope away, and they walk around like ghosts, and we see them as they are breaking, and as their spirit dies, but deep inside we still believe they will come alive and fly. I saw an angel all fell from the sky. I said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will fly. Now she walks across the room like she could walk across the sky. And those old dark eyes are so alive, they set the room on fire. This is no shattered angel, I say to myself. I feel Zuzu's petals, I hear one small bell. I saw an angel in pieces, as if the pieces all fell from the sky. I said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will fly.
All right, John.
Thank you. Hi, Marcia. Hi, everybody. Welcome everybody. Nice to see you. Those of you watching on other platforms, you're welcome to come over here, but you're welcome to remain anonymous over there as well. And Brandon will feed your insights over to me if they live up to his if he right. Right. So Father's Day was a couple days ago. Here's one. Here's a song. If I can remember how to play this now, I should have practiced this, but I sang this at my daughter's wedding. My daughter got married in Costa Rica. She was brilliant. She's like, I'm just gonna put this so I'm gonna make it in another country where you need a passport to get there, and that'll mean that you really want to be at my wedding. Like a natural filter. And I sang this there. It was quite emotional, actually. I hope I can remember it and do justice to it. Little bird perched on a mountainside, with little wings wondering if they can fly. A pretty little song singing questions to the breeze. Singing, can these little wings really bring me to my dream? The wind is there dance upon, the rain keeps the rhythm in the dreamer's song. And when you ask me why the sky is blue, I'll tell you blue is the color of the boundless dreams of little birds who sing like you. She knows you love her, she knows you're right, that there really is danger in the wind at night. She sees how you worry every single time she leaves. But in her dreams at night, it's only blue sky that she sees. The wind is there to dance upon, the rain keeps the rhythm in the dreamer's song. And when you ask me why the sky is blue, I'll tell you, blue is the color of the boundless streams of little birds who sing like you. And now you stand behind her on the mountainside. When she looks back, you see the whole world in her eyes. When the wind lifts her skyward, her song is on the breeze. Singing, can these little wings really bring me to my dreams? The wind is there to dance upon. The rain keeps the rhythm in the dreamer's song. And when you ask me why the sky is blue, I'll tell you, blue, that's the color of the boundless dreams of little birds who sing like you. Of little birds who sing like you.
Woo! Beautiful, Don. Woo!
Now I'm all emotional and shit.
How do you keep yourself together singing that at your daughter's wedding?
It was all I could do to do it. It was all I could do to do it.
Yeah.
Now, but I had experience with singing at my parents' funerals too. That was really hard too, and I just tell myself how bad it will be if I break down, because the worst thing that can happen in a moment like that is for people to start to worry about you. That takes the focus off what you're trying to do, off the bride, right? Off my parents, right? So I just, like all the way through it, I was thinking about crying, really, it was so emotional. But I was like, nope, you got to do this job here. This job is to not. It can't turn out to be about you, actually. Christine Lavin's here. Her and I used to talk about this all the time on the road, about how, you got to take care of that audience. If all of a sudden they're worried about you, whatever you were trying to do isn't happening anymore, right? So that's how. But it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But when it works, if you get right to the point where the water is welling up but it's not coming out, that's as good as it can be. Like everybody's had the most complete experience at that point that they're gonna get.
A heck of a way to break into the funeral circuit.
Well, I'm old enough now. Everybody's dying around me. I think there's a good market in it. As long as they can do it. So welcome and thank you. I'm gonna play another song maybe, and then we're gonna have our guest poet. It's like that's a surprise guest poet, I guess, this time. And so we'll take a little break after that. I want to thank you all for supporting this through the year and the year plus. I have to play. I was telling everybody earlier. I have to play 3 private shows this weekend. It's really the first time I will have played. They're all backyard shows. And I honestly don't know if I can play the guitar standing up. like I haven't done it in 14 months. So tomorrow's Friday. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna find my strap. I don't know where it is. Also, I thought today, which would have been a classic mistake, I haven't changed the batteries in these guitars for the pickups in 14 months. That would be classic. I'll get out there and plug it in. They won't work, right? So I should remember how to be a guy who plays shows. I'm not sure that my fingers can find the chords on a guitar if I'm not in the sitting position. Like I think I've atrophied into this position.
I'm sure they could get you a chair.
I'm gonna bring one actually. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can do it, and I'm also not sure about my stamina. Can I stand up for 2 hours or whatever? but I'm excited to do it. I'm filling my summer up with these sort of things. I'm booking the fall as if nothing had happened, but the summer I'm doing lots of private things for folks. So if you know anybody, within driving distance of where I live, I'll come play at your house. I'm vaxxed to the max. That's what I'm saying to people. Dawn White is vaxxed to the max.
Come to California.
I will. Not right away. Got to work on getting this book done, but I will come to California. I'll try to just go places that I want to go, not just places that'll have me. That's my feeling. Like unless there's outrageous money in it, I think I'm gonna try to have control over where I go and want to.
No, Hotel Campstrom is open.
Say again.
Hotel Campstrom is open.
And it's a fantastic hotel as well.
It is, and it's free.
And it's right near.
About the outrageous money. You're a folk singer.
I appreciate the that thought, but I've made some money. But people have paid me, money that you wouldn't think a folk singer would make. So I can't say no to it. But mostly, I think I want to go to Chicago. I have some friends there. I haven't been there for a while, and I'm, California. I want to go see you guys. I want to take Terry. I want to get her to retire, and we'll make vacations out of it. I'm collecting Social Security. I don't really need to grab every penny anymore. I don't think. We'll see. We'll know. So let me do this one song, then we'll have our guest poet here. I've been playing this every week, but I know Kara likes it, and she's out there fighting so hard in the world for the world to be better. She's just a valiant, tireless advocate for making the world better. And so let me just play this, and then we'll go from there. Jenny's grandma went to Woodstock back in 1969. She keeps her ticket stub in a chunk of mud at her house in the little shrine. She was always the girl in the hippie dress twirling at the shows by the Grateful Dead. If you ask her about it, man, you better sit down. Grandma will talk the ears right off your head. If you get her talking about the Grateful Dead, the Summer of Love, or the Kool-Aid acid test. Jenny was always in the glory when she could hear the stories from her grandma's hippie friends about peace and love, taking care of one another, how great it all was back then. And at night she would dream of being on the bus with Keezy, seeing Jimmy in 69. But when she wasn't dreaming, she always had the feeling that somehow she'd been born in the wrong time. You should have been 20 in 1969. All the gray-haired hippies say that all the time. Because the cool grandchildren of the cool young women who danced in the Woodstock mud are living on the beach in Montezuma, Costa Rica, having all kinds of fun singing. There's only 1 minute if you're not living in it, it's never coming back again. Love your grandma, but Baba Ram Dass never said, be there then. It's gonna take a big fat leap of faith if you wanna find your tribe. And those were the first words that Jenny heard in a song that she found online. And that summer she drove all the way to Minnesota to the Shangri-La Festival. There they all were, all the people like her, who grew up believing that they were all alone. They said, hey girl, welcome home. Because the cool grandchildren of the cool young women who danced in the Woodstock mud are driving down the road all the way to Minnesota, having all kinds of fun singing. Jimmy and Jerry are dead and buried, and they're never coming back again. Love your grandma, but Baba Ram Dass never said, be there then. grandma went to Woodstock in 1969, and since then she believed there was never going to be a better time, and that's alright. But if you don't take your big leap of faith and get out there and find your scene, it will pass you by while you are trying to find your grandma's long gone Woodstock memories. Her Woodstock memories. While the cool grandchildren of the cool young women who danced in the Woodstock mud are living on the beach in Montezuma, Costa Rica, having all kinds of fun, singing, there's only 1 minute if you're not living in it, it's never coming back again. I love you, Grandma, but Barbara Ram Dass never said, never said, never said, never said, never said be there then. Here you go, Kara.
Hey, thank you.
Done.
Well,
I
welcome
love that song.
everybody. Thank you. Thanks for playing along. So, those of you that are new watching from wherever, my world is, divvied up into poetry, songwriting, storytelling, comedy, music, lying. We got to put lying in there, but hyperbolizing. Those are my 6 worlds there. And generally, back in the old days, they were all separated. I could go tell stories at storytelling festivals and do poetry at poetry readings and whatever. But now, the internet, it's all mashed together. So, but I wanted to. I've been introducing poets and storytellers and spoken word artists to my friends here in this little segment, the poetry corner, the spoken word corner, I guess we'd call it. And normally I can find someone to do it, but when I can't, I've been reaching out to the people who come every week and asking them if they want to do something, because you don't have to read something that you wrote. You can read something that you love or whatever, and I just thought it's a nice way to say thank you to folks that come all the time. So I've asked Sarah to read for us today. Sarah is the most loyal of all the loyalists here. She comes every week, and she's just an extraordinary human being. And so she is going to read for us tonight. She's going to put some words in our spoken word corner. This is probably a debut for her, I would imagine. You can tell me if I'm wrong about that. But so let's everybody unmute as much as you can so that we can give her a nice big round of applause and make her feel good. All right?
Yes!
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, goodness. Ooh.
Go, Sarah. Go, Sarah.
Thanks,
Go,
everybody.
Sarah.
Oh.
Hey, beach for the team. Whoa.
Thanks, baby.
Nice team.
Star's born.
Yay.
My most loyal fan right there.
There you
I'm
go.
very blessed. So this is an assignment that I wrote for a class I took called the San Joaquin Valley Writing Project. And it was really intense, and I don't have a lot of experience with writing, but this was an interesting assignment to take a metaphor and write about yourself. So this is called My Life is a Dragonfly. Dragonflies are ancient insects, approximately 300 million years ancient. Dragonflies experience an extreme metamorphosis from the larval to adult stage of their lives. Their 2 stages of life do not resemble each other very much. Dragonflies live in the water and then in the air, but still near the water in their life cycle. I am a dragonfly. Dragonflies skimming over the water's surface, shimmering iridescence in the light sparkles across my eyes. As I swim, I watch them hunt for mosquitoes and watch them add life to the water in the form of their eggs. I love the water. Something about being submerged in water is soothing at a primal level, almost as if it is where I truly belong, in the wild. Dragonflies are born in the water and spend most of their lives there in a larval stage. Swimming connects me with the ancientness of the world and makes me feel closer to my God. I am a dragonfly. Dragonfly larvae live alone in the water for the first years of their lives. I have always preferred swimming alone, and particularly at night. Feeling the smooth coolness gliding over my skin is a balm on my soul. I retreat to water as a shelter when I am feeling less than safe. In the water, I am whole, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. At night, the darkness makes me feel enveloped in safety, and the stillness I feel in the water connects me to my spirituality and nature. I am a dragonfly. Dragonflies swarming through the air. What are they doing? Where are they going? Why? My time out of water is often spent with people. Although I really am an introvert, I do like to be social, but I do crave meaningful interaction. I love to laugh and have a good time, yet I most enjoy serious personal problem solving. Problems are prey to me. I am often able to see solutions that others cannot see. I am a dragonfly in that way, mostly I. Flying above a situation gives me a unique perspective on things below. As a previous science teacher, I have an inquiring, curious mind, particularly for living things, humans especially. Observing and recording my data, I try to see connections, reasons, cause and effect for later application. I am a dragonfly. The dragonfly goes through a massive transformation in its life cycle, and so have I. Change has come to me on every level there is. I nearly died physically at age 16, died emotionally and spiritually at age 22, was reborn into a better me, went from being a righty to a lefty, East Coast to West Coast, poor to rich to just okay, chaos to organization, restlessness to serenity, small town flatland girl to big New York City girl to small mountain girl, rageful to peaceful, heartbroken to heart healed, single to married, mosh pits to folk festivals, teaching science to English. If you are left wondering by this list, that's good, for dragonflies are mysterious too. I am a dragonfly. I have been through so much and so many transformations in my life thus far that I feel I've been here as long as the dragonflies. Sometimes the metamorphoses were welcome, others not so much. But all of it has brought me to be the person I am today. And I believe that if you take one part of the past out, all that comes after must leave. So no regrets. Because today I shimmer with the iridescent beauty of whom I've become, a creation of water and air. I am a dragonfly.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
Well done, Sarah. Well done.
That was awesome. That was great.
Thank you, Don.
Very well done.
Wow. We can get you in the driver's seat more than that.
No, we're unleashing these writers on the world now, aren't we? Like, that was beautiful, Sarah. One more
It
time.
really was.
My God, that was just fantastic.
That was beautiful, Sarah. Beautiful.
Pete just yelled out that he wants me to do the buttered cat next time for
All
humor.
right, we'll do it.
I'm sorry, the what?
Yeah,
The buttered cat, right?
But
that
the
has me
ballad,
wondering.
Don't
the
give
ballad of the
don't give-
buttered cat.
don't give up too much of it now. Keep them warm. I like this. Like I generally can find a poet who does it for a living or does it professionally, but when I can, I think I'll reach out. So I know that Marcia has something that she would like to read sometime. So next time I'll reach out to her and see if she wants to do that for us, and anybody else that, like I said, it doesn't have to be something that you wrote. It can be something that means something to you, and we can chat about that, you know? So let's just keep that in mind, all you sort of insiders here, you know, my glorious 20 or however many of you there are here, you know, in the Zoom part. So I want to take a little break, just a few minutes. If you get a chance, if you can donate something, that would be great. We're still not making any money around here, so we'll put the screen up and it'll have Venmo and PayPal there. You know, it's free. Don't worry about it if you don't have any money, but if you can, it helps. I pay Brandon. That's the most important thing. Make sure he gets paid. But if there's anything left over, we'll buy groceries with it and think about you when we're in Market Basket. Right? Okay. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'll play till about 25 past, and then we'll have our after party with Christine Lavin and Janet Feld. It's going to be a hot one, so you're going to want to be.
All right.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep. We got you.
Good
Yep.
deal. Welcome. So here, let me play a couple, and then we'll get to our after party here. Thanks everybody who was kind enough to throw a few bucks my way. Appreciate it. Brandon appreciates it too. In the 43 years that we have been wed, I wondered if you ever heard a word I said, till I said pass that remote control over here, and you told me to blow it out my ear. I love you, you're a sassy brat, you make me mad and you make me laugh. God, please don't cut our time in half, let me grow old with my sassy brat. When my fans call up and say that I'm great, you tell them that that is a huge mistake. That if they had to live with me, they would understand what a big pain in the ass I am. I love you, you're a sassy brat, you make me mad and you make me laugh. God, please don't cut our time in half, let me grow old with my sassy brat. There are men who like women who they can dominate, that bring them breakfast in bed and always tell them that they're great. Well, my sassy lady never does that for me, but at least a life with her is definitely not boring. She says if you want me to believe that you're great, do a couple loads of laundry around here someday. Hey pal, it's only because you're still kinda cute that I haven't already gotten rid of you. I love you, you're sassy brat, you make me mad and you make me laugh. God, please don't cut our time in half, let me grow old with my sassy brat. You say the kids have both gone to the show. How about a little quickie before they come home? I say, hey, I suppose you think you're really slick, the way that you keep emphasizing little and quick. I'm not that sure I love you, you're a sassy brat, you hurt my ego and you make me mad. God, please don't cut our time in half, let me grow old with my sassy brat. Sassy bratty lady been a hang around here, driving me crazy all of these years. If I could ever afford to see a psychiatrist, I'd ask him why the hell do I like being treated like this. We were in bed but we were still awake. You said I really love you in this life we've made. I said, hey, can I quote you on what you just said? You told me if I did you'd punch me in the head. I love you, you sassy brat, you make me mad and you make me laugh. God, please don't cut our time in half, let me grow old with my sassy brat. I hope it's not too much to ask, let me grow older with my sassy brat. Ta-da.
Hey, John, all right.
Hey Neil, good to hear you, man. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too, my friend.
How's everything? You feeling okay, man? Everything
I
good?
cannot complain a bit, and boy, did Sarah knock it out of the park,
I'm
didn't you?
telling you, we've unleashed another poet now.
Good, good.
Complete books of poetry and short stories now. She's unleashed now, totally unleashed. But Sarah, that was really nicely done. Just really, really beautiful.
That is for sure.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So maybe she could show up at your open mic sometime and read. What do you think, Neil?
She's always welcome.
Always welcome.
Aw,
She knows that.
thanks, Neil.
You're welcome, my dear.
Let me do this Father's Day thing here. You know, like my grandchildren are almost the boys, the twin boys, are almost the age that my daughter was when I was writing this song for her. So, I can still sing these things with conviction. It's just a long time ago. I remember it very clearly. There was a lot of stress in the house. She was asserting her independence or authority. She wasn't going to be pushed around by us. My daughter turned out to be the most extraordinary. She's the great human being and a good pal and fun and great to her baby and all that. But man, she was so much like her father. when, I, when I looked at her, I was simultaneously charmed and horrified in those days. And my mother was that way too. Like I'm just surrounded by women. All the women in my world are not going to take nothing from nobody. That's kind of like my mother was that way. My mother was born in the wrong time. She would have went to Woodstock. She would have hitchhiked around the country. She would have like followed the Grateful Dead. Whatever was the coolest thing to do, she would have done it. But she graduated high school in the 40s. There was nobody to be a rebel with. It was her and James Dean. He probably later for him even, right? And she had to be like a an independent, a rebel, right? She didn't have a tribe, and she would look at us, in the 70s, and she would be concerned because our decision making was bad. But I think she longed for the freedom that we had. Social mores were loosening up. You could be more yourself. All that. I think she loved that about us, and my daughter was that way too. So this song is called Brown Eyes Shine. It's a song I wrote for Ariel after we had this fight way back, kind of imagining the day that we have now, where we're pals and everything, and I was kind of just trying to suggest that this day that we're in now is coming, and that we should try not to say anything too mean to each other during these teenage years, because it can linger. We could still be dealing with it now. If you say I hate you, I wish you were dead, that kind of stuff can come out of your mouth when you're a kid or whatever, if you're angry. And so we sort of skirted that, and now we have no unresolved, that part, that those kind of things are not unresolved. So I yelled, I screamed, I swore, and she slammed her bedroom door. The house was completely still, and in that silent chill, I began to feel and hear the sounds of my own teen years. Didn't I always say my home would not feel this way? Hey kid, can I come in? Hey, can we start again? There's just too much at stake for us to keep on this way. If this family explodes today and the wounded go their own way, when the time comes to heal, will we still all be here? The pain in my mother's eyes, the day that her father died, was born in her teenage years of wounds that never healed. Your life keeps on calling you. You hear it call, I do too. It gets louder all the time. I know it won't be denied, but there's just a few short years where we will both live here for this precious and fleeting time. Let me see those brown eyes shine. The pain in my mother's eyes, the day that her father died, was born in her teenage years of wounds that never healed. If we make a deal today to stop making their mistakes when the time comes to say goodbye. You won't have my mother's eyes for this precious and fleeting time. Let me see those brown eyes shine.
Woo!
Love that song. I always love that song.
That's a classic.
That to me is a classic. It's a Don White.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
You know, my wife and my daughter came to see me at Club Passim. They didn't normally come. I forget why they were there. It might have been because I was sick and they were just watching out for me. I think that was the reason they came. But my mother had just died, and I sang that song. I wasn't thinking about it, and it killed them. Like, because she had just died, and there's those lines in it about her eyes and unresolved things with her and her father. And of course, me on the stage seeing them and realizing what I was doing in the middle of how I, it was quite a moment, I have to tell you. And the songwriters out there, just so you know, if this means anything to you, I have to give myself challenges, and that challenge is a challenge for this song. I challenged myself to 6s. What I mean by that is, I yelled, I screamed, I swore, right? She slammed her bedroom door. The house was completely still. I'm like, can I do this whole thing with 6 syllables? And it's pretty close. So, you know, sometimes you have to throw one on the beginning and start, you know, like that. But that was a good challenge for me. And it made it feel a little bit like an Irish ballad or something like that, you know. So that's a long tradition there. All right, so let me play this song for Marcia to sort of end up my part of this thing here. I know that she likes this. This is a song that I wrote after I was in an automobile accident way back, and Marcia fell off her bicycle last week or 2 weeks ago, right?
Oh, no, it was like 9 years ago.
Really?
It was a long time ago.
Really? I thought you had just come from a bicycle accident.
No. It happened a long time ago, but I was training for a race, and I don't usually race. So I was trying to go fast. So when I hit this dog and didn't fall down, I was just floored. Like, what happened? How come I didn't fall down?
Well, you be careful out there, Marcia. Like I said to everybody, there's not enough Don White fans that I can lose any. So you need to like,
I will stay safe just for you, Don.
yeah,
You don't lose fans.
that is exactly what I'm saying.
It's all about you.
Now, let me ask everyone here, is there any question about that? Questioning this? Right? So,
Well, there might be a little about Therese.
yeah. Well, she, you know, without her,
You better say that. Well, either way, Don.
yes, no, you're right. Yeah. But anyway, Marcia, you take care of yourself. Don't make me worry about you, okay? And so this song, I got rear-ended. I was working my work van. I don't know if I've told you the details of this before. So when I was installing alarm systems, you know, I did it for 20 years. I worked in a van every day. I had a van I would drive from my house every day. And we had drill bits that were 6 feet long. Like, they had a bit on the end, and they were kind of pliable. So you would be like have a drill like this, and then put it down, and then try to get from the 3rd floor to down, you know, like that in the walls, like that. And I had about 20 of them in my van. Like the van roof of the van had these slats going across it. So being the genius that I am, I slid them all across the slats. There to keep them out of the way, right? These long, great big long drill bits. So I'm in my work van. I have to stop quickly because a car is stopped in front of me, and I get rear-ended by a Penske truck, like, you know, those big rental trucks, like slammed, caved in the whole back of my van. And I looked over on the passenger side, and all those drill bits had come shooting out of the ceiling, and they were all sticking into the dashboard on the driver's side, on the passenger side. So if I had put them on the other side, I would have been shot by 100 arrows. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so what I mean to say about this is, if you're stupid like me, it's important to be lucky. You know, like lucky is better than handsome. It's better than rich. It's better than anything. If you know, before you're born, if they lay out a bunch of choices for you and lucky is in there, pick lucky because it'll make the difference between 40 6-foot long drill bits penetrating the passenger dashboard or your head. So that's just all I'm saying here. It's a great day to not be dead for Marsha hitting dogs with her bicycle all over the place over there. All right, here we go. I was on the highway, I was cruising along, decided to put my seatbelt on. A minute later, baby, what do you believe? A Big Mac truck crashed into me. I told the policeman that I was okay. He said your seatbelt saved your life today. And the ambulance driver, the EMT, I started singing this song to me. They said it's a great day to not be dead. Shoot you are, to not cave in your windshield with your head. Cave in your windshield with your head. You're an ugly man, but if that occurred, believe me, you would be even uglier. And it's a great day to not be dead. Shoot you are. Later that evening with the family, we were sitting on the couch, we were watching TV. There was a drive-by shooting on the 6 o'clock news. They fired 15 bullets at one poor dude. He took one on the finger, one on the shin. The other 13 all missed him, so we called him up at the hospital. And we sang to him over the telephone. We said, hey, it is a great day to not be dead. Shoot you are. To not have a bunch of bullets in your head. Oh, what wonderful luck you've got. The guy that tried to kill you was a terrible shot, and it's a great day to not be dead. The next news story on my TV set was that guy whose wife brought a knife to bed. His name was Mr. Bobbin. 1 hour later, as the story goes, a part of his anatomy was laying by the road. Well, my wife looked over and she smiled at me. She started singing this song to me. She said, it's a great day to not be dead. You want, and none of your wife bring a knife with her to bed. You want, chop, whoa! She said, I yell, I scream, I complain a lot, but at least I haven't cut no body parts off, and it's a great day to not be dead. You want, not cutting body parts off is an excellent quality in a wife, really, when you think about it. I thought about my car crash, my close call, and then I started getting sentimental. I said, I love this house, I love you guys, I even love my rusty old car outside, and I'm so happy. I am so happy to be alive with all of you. Let's do all the things we always said that we would do. 'Cause I gotta tell you something, it's a great day. It is 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 a great day to not be dead. Something like that. All right.
John, all right.
Way to go, Don.
I must
Saying
agree.
that because it's the anniversary this week of John Wayne Bobbitt.
Is that it? Is it the anniversary? Maybe that's why this came up.
This week, I think it was Tuesday of this week was the anniversary in '93.
Wow.
It actually was in the almanac of the paper. Important things that happened this day.
It was important to him. He sure felt like it was an important thing.
Important to you too. It gave you a song.
Well, it gave me a good hunk of a song, that's right. So thank you, everybody. So I'm just gonna go splash some water on my face, and then we'll have our after party where we get to hang out and we have little songs.
Party!
And,
Right.
again, if you can drop a few bucks in the hat, that'll be great. Those of you that don't like to use the internet, perfectly fine to mail me a check. I like getting mail. If you can write me a little note in cursive, I will tease all the young people around me like I can understand a secret language. I'll be like, look, I have a secret message here that you can't.
I'll put it in lemon juice and you'll have to hold it up to a candle.
Honestly, I get like these letters and cards and they're in cursive, and I just think, man, this is like in 10 years from now, you'll need a translator for this stuff. It's wonderful. All right, I'll be back in a little. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you in just a couple of minutes. All right, let's get our after party started here. So first of all, that music that you're hearing is from Nancy Tucker. Nancy Tucker from Connecticut. a fantastic guitar player and very funny songwriter. So look her up, and Brandon, if you can put her information in it's in the chat or whatever. If you like that music, she's wonderful. Nancy Tucker from Connecticut, providing us with our intermission acoustic guitar music. So I'm gonna start off our after party with my friend Janet from Somerville, Mass. A person I love dearly, who's been she's a guitar teacher and a songwriter and a friend to all. So unmute yourself so that we can make a ton of noise for her. Please welcome the great Janet Fell, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you, and it's always a treat to see and hear Dawn, and I'm really psyched to be invited to share some of my work with you. I'm going to start out with a really old song of mine, and this is kind of Chris's fault because there was someone looking for songs that had been written about 9/11, and back just a few months, maybe like 3 months after the 9/11 attack, then I wrote this song with my friend Lisa Ashman, who's based in wonderful songwriter based in Nashville, Tennessee. This is called "How Can I Let Go of My Fear." If I say my prayers, have a bulletproof vest, guards at the gate, and I know karate. If I eat good food and I'm big and strong, have a fast boat and a life jacket on. If I know how to swim, keep my head down, hands in my pockets and my legs crossed. If I know who to call, if I know protocol, if I got a trust fund and I go to college. Oh, 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 but I'm still scared. Safety anywhere. How can I let go of my fear? How can I accept that I might lose what I hold dear? Even if I could lose my life, how can I believe I'll be alright when there's no safety here? How can I let go of my fear? If I brush and floss, if there's lots of police, if I get good grades, take antibiotics, if I have a good job and money in the bank, if I wash my hands, have a big tank, if I wear a seatbelt, drive a Volvo, got a cell phone and I don't smoke, if I got a pit bull and I don't get mad and I know where to hide and I've got a witness. Oh, 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 but I'm still scared. Oh, 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 can I find safety anywhere? How can I let go of my fear? How can I accept that I might lose what I hold dear? Even if I could lose my life, how can I believe I'll be alright when there's no safety here? How can I let go of my fear? My faith makes me free. I trust when I leap. The net will appear. When I let go of my fear, when I accept that I might lose what I hold dear, even if I could lose my life, I can still believe I'll be alright with what is now and what is here. When I let go of my fear, when I let go
Oh, Janet, that was beautiful.
Very much.
Woo! Thank you so much.
You.
That
You
was-
know,
Wow.
I wrote
felt
that.
one.
Thank you so much. Well, I was, while I'm singing it, I was thinking, we wrote it about 9/11, but really it's applicable having, dealt with living through a global pandemic. And, both my husband and I had COVID last year. And thank God, mild cases and survived. Still waking up on the right side of the dirt.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God. Thank God.
What's the line in it about the net? I believe the net's gonna be there.
It's the bridge that my faith makes me free. I trust when I leap, the net will appear.
Yeah, that's that's it really. I can remember at 9/11, serious and all of that, but everyone was talking about how people weren't safe from people terrorizing them anymore. And I went to my mother and I go like, what do I live in America? And she goes, yeah. You want drugs again? I'm like, no. I'm like, well, I met my first terrorist when I was 5 years old. He knocked me off my bicycle and took it. So, you have to have that faith, right? You just have to, right?
Yeah.
It's too bad you have to learn it at 5. It's better to learn it later. But it's a wonderful thing to have, to know that it'll be okay when you leap. So, Janet, we'll talk later as we go around. But I want to thank you for just for dragging that tune out. It was just wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Woo! Thanks, Janet.
All right, so now one of my dearest friends in the world. Toured with 8+ years with her all over the road. I have more stories about this person. She, I spent a lot of time with her, and she's been so good to me and to everybody. And I'm so excited when she agrees to come by. So let's make a lot of noise for one of the great people on planet Earth, Christine Lavin.
Good to see you.
Thank you. And Janet, I love that song. And one of the things I really, really like about it, you mentioned you wrote it 3 months after, because a lot of songwriters were trying to write in the heat of the moment, and you really needed some distance from it. And 3 months, you probably thought at the time, like, oh, this is so, after the fact, but not at all. Especially because of what we've just gone through.
It's true, and at the time, actually, it didn't feel like a long time ago, because I had just flown to Nashville, and it was the first time I'd gotten on an airplane since the attack, and one of the planes flew out of Boston. And so, it was, there was a lot of people that were like, oh my God, you're getting on a plane? And I was like, well, if I had to choose, dying in a terrorist attack on an airplane, it would really not be my first choice of the way to die. But,
It was interesting to be flying right after, or months after, because sometimes as passengers we don't all talk to each other. We didn't know each other. And we'd say, if anything happens, like, we will spring into action. And I had my knitting needles. And the joke was, they're afraid you're going to knit an Afghan. But I have knitting needles that are on a long metal cord, so I could, really. So I was ready. I was a Girl Scout. I was ready.
The dark side of Christine.
Yeah. Well, guess what, gang? I'm going to do a brand new song. It's so new. I've never performed this anywhere, and I've got the words in front of me because it's really, really that new. But I'm so happy Janet is here and Dawn is here, because my song is unique to me, but you could write the same kind of song that could be unique to you, and you'll see what I mean. Should I just do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yay.
Hey, Brandon. Hope my guitar's okay.
So far, so good, Chris.
Okay. A songwriter named Bob sold his music catalog for a great big pile of money. Yes, he's a genius, got a lot of classic songs, but I don't think a single one is funny. I've been a songwriter for many, many years. I've been booed off stage, I've heard my share of cheers. If Bob can sell his songs, why can't I? At least I'll give it the old college try. Hold on. I've got a screenplay in the form of a song called Doris and Edwin the movie. Doris works in the basement, Edwin the 37th floor. He thinks she's weird, she thinks she's groovy. He doesn't look, he just leaps. Edwin lands on Doris, they're together for keeps. I wrote this back 4 decades ago. Has it made me any money yet? No. But in the right hands, it could be a top 40 smash. I'll take credit cards, Bitcoin, and maybe even cash. I've got a theater production in the form of a song called Shopping Cart of Love, the play. About a woman in a grocery store who's having bad luck till suddenly things go her way. A man pays for her groceries, they start falling in love. Walking home they hear screams from below and above. It's Edwin and Doris about to meet, then get embedded into the concrete street. But in the right hands, it could be a top 10 smash. I'll take credit cards, Bitcoins, gold, and your CBD stash. I made my first album in 1981. It was vinyl and the music biz was tons of fun. But times have been a-changin', the fun is over. Here's my final attempt to be walking in clover. I've got a cartoon that's a song about Kleinfeld Bridal Salon, Mike's Tech Shop, and a naughty lingerie boutique. It's very complicated, it's 8 minutes long. It's a bitch to memorize, but it's unique. In the middle of the song, Kleinfeld catches on fire. A fireman saves a crying bride from a fate so dire. The fireman is Doris's nephew. The bride is Edwin's niece. They fall in love, so Doris and Edwin can finally rest in peace. In the right hands could be a #1 smash. I'll take credit cards, Bitcoins, a golden calf. It could go to the top of the chart. In return, I will give you a piece of my heart. 'Cause I wanna be like my idol, Bob. Will somebody please? Somebody please. Somebody please buy my catalog.
Yeah.
I challenge you. I challenge you guys. We should all have a song about our catalog and sing it, and people will somebody will buy our catalog. We can reach higher. Really, I'm hoping everybody will write their own song.
Okay. Christine Lavin, it's a hit. I have to tell you, it's a hit. How you come up with these things, I'll never know. One more time, Christine Lavin. Oh my. Wow. We've had a lot of debuts here, but that one could be the best one yet, Christine.
Yeah.
Yo.
Platinum bound.
Platinum bound, right.
That
Somebody call Sony, quick.
Dr. Demento.
Yeah. Christine, we'll go around a few times and chat a little bit. Does that work for you? I can see you nodding. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's one more time for Christine Lavin, everybody.
Yay.
All right, Janet. Let's talk a little bit. So I have to tell everybody here who's listening on whatever platform you're on that Janet is just a wonderful guitar teacher. That's really how she makes her living, and she is can take you from never having touched a guitar before, or some people who are really advanced. And I mean, I took a lesson with her one time, and it was just she was just so gentle, and she's just the best. So if you know anybody that wants to play guitar, wants to get better at guitar, of course now through Zoom, it doesn't matter where they are. I want to recommend her. So Janet, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? We'll have Brandon put it in the chat.
Through my email address, janet@janetsplanetmusic.com.
So what should we talk about here? When you're a kid, right? What was the music that turned you on and made you know you were going to be a musician? Can you identify that?
Oh my God! Well, the first music I fell in love with was the Beatles. The first movie I ever went to. My oldest sister is 14 years older than me, so she was in high school when I was, pretty small, and when she was one weekend when I was like 4, she put me and my other sister, who's 3 years older than me, in our PJs and stuck us in the back of my parents' Rambler, with three speeds on the column, and put us in our PJs. And she and a friend of hers from high school, Woburn High School, took us to the drive-in to see Help. And and Paul McCartney was my first faux boyfriend. When I was 10, I dumped him for George. But the Beatles were really the first music that I loved. But my parents listened to a lot of music, and I loved the old they listened to Pete Seeger, and my sister was into Peter, Paul and Mary, and so I loved that. But also, like many people of our generation, we were watching Ed Sullivan every week, so I had to take a nap so I could stay up to watch the Beatles, in 1964. But I, that was like our first Spotify, wasn't it? The Ed Sullivan Show, like.
Yeah, it's funny about the Beatles. I have a grandson who lives on the 3rd floor here, and he's not even 2 yet. And I remembered this song from the Yellow Submarine album called "All Together Now." You know that song?
All together now, all together now.
He flips over that thing. It's the Beatles have appeal from 90 to 1. Right, that song goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I have a little more? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love you. Right? He's just he's out of his mind for that thing, and I like it too. So you gotta hand it to that songwriting when someone who can't even speak yet loves it as much as an old man like me. It's pretty good stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, as a teacher, I mean, I started teaching in camps and schools and private lessons and stuff starting back in the 80s. And I've taught in the inner city, I've taught in the suburbs, I've taught all sorts of, there are always kids of every generation who love the Beatles. And, you know, the thing is that the music is just great.
That's another thing I want to tell everybody. Janet is a fantastic children's performer. Like when I was having panic attacks for having to learn how to play for children, Tony Toledo taught me how to tell stories, and Janet taught me songs. And she's just unbelievable with them. You know, just like, you know, she'll have like 400 kids just all right in the palm of her hand. So, you know, anybody wants, if you're in need of somebody who can do that job, which everybody can't do, I want to recommend Janet Feld. So, Janet, why don't you play another song for us? Huh?
All right, I'm gonna play one of my newer songs. This I wrote it in the middle of the night, and I was on Facebook. You know, I was lying in bed with my laptop on my chest, and I was scrolling, and my friend Tom had this photograph of his car dashboard on his page, and it was he had this on the dashboard. It was this little plastic Buddha drinking a cup of coffee and talking on the telephone. So I type in the comments, "Who's the Buddha talking to?" And as soon as I typed it in there, you know, of course I'm like this, you know, because I'm lying in bed. Then this song pretty much came in whole. And so this is "Who's the Buddha Talking to?" Who's the Buddha talking to? He's talking on the phone. Who's the Buddha talking to? He's talking on the phone. Jesus, Moses, Joan of Arc, and Muhammad too. Maybe sharing deepest thoughts with him this afternoon. Could be Lao Tzu talking all about the Tao Te Ching, or Lilith on the stars and the phases of the moon. Oh, who's the Buddha talking to? He's talking on the phone. Who's the Buddha talking to? He's talking on the phone. Throughout time, when the prophets were called to lead, they took a leap of faith with no guarantees. Every time, every one of them questioned the divine, and chose to show us how to walk in love and peace. So who's the Buddha talking to? He's talking on the phone. Who's the Buddha talking to? He's talking on the phone. So everyone is worthy to heal someone in need. Every day it can be you who gets to plant the seed. An act of kindness seems so small, but is bigger than the sea. When someone pays it forward, and it ripples endlessly, ripples endlessly, ripples endlessly. Oh, who's the Buddha talking to? He could be talking to you. Who's the Buddha talking to? He could be talking to you. Who's the Buddha talking to? He could be talking to you. Who's the Buddha talking to? He could be talking to you. He could be talking to you. He could be talking to you. He could be talking to you.
Yeah.
Woo! I love that song.
Who's the Buddha clapping for? He's clapping now for you.
Woo!
One more time for Janet Feld, please. Bring it. Janet, bring it. All right.
Janet.
Thanks, Neil. Nice to see you.
You too, my dear. Always.
It's so much fun to see everybody here. You know, I miss you all so much. But Janet and I are gonna have coffee sometime, right? They're close. Right? I'm having coffee now with people in real places. You know, where I can see their face and everything. It's scary. It's frightening. It's awesome. But you know what? I when I jump out the window, I trust that there'll be a net underneath there.
Love it. Love it.
Christine Lavin, let's talk for a minute here.
All
I think
right.
we haven't talked enough in our lives, the two of us here.
Yeah.
So I know some of the answers to these questions here, but I think it's interesting. So do you want to just talk a little bit about how I think the story about how you learned to play guitar and what motivated you to do it and all that. Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
No, I come from a really big family. I've got 8 brothers and sisters, and our parents wanted us to each have something that was our own. And I showed some interest in music, so they were able to afford, because we didn't have much money with a big family like that, $5 a month rent for a guitar. And I watched the lessons broadcast on Channel 13 in New York, and I got a book from the station for $1. So it was an investment of $6.
And did you have to learn backwards? Are you lefty? Is that
Yeah, I'm left-handed, but I didn't know about changing the strings around, which I'm glad I didn't know, because I'm sure, as Janet will probably tell you, if you're lefty and you do change your strings around, that's good in the short run, but in the long run, you're going to have a hard time finding another guitar if you're in a situation where, if somebody wants you to do a song and you can't do it if it's a right-handed guitar. So I'm a lefty, but I play righty.
right? I know somebody who's left-handed but plays upside down. Her brother taught her, right? So she plays it upside down. Watching her do it is unbelievable. It's like you feel like
Yeah.
you're tripping when you watch.
It's like Bill Staines. That's what he does.
Is that right? Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
And so, what would you? Was it folk music right from the beginning, Chris? That first piqued your interest, or you? What?
Yeah, it was. But you know what? I'd rather talk about what I went through this past weekend.
Well, let's do that. All right.
I played the wedding march that I wrote for my niece's wedding on the beach on Martha's Vineyard. And it was really, really something, because they planned this wedding for years, and it was supposed to be 200 people, but it was down to 40 people. And, for the 2 years of planning, nothing went as planned. Nothing. For instance, oh God, I hope, are you taping this? Hope you're
Yeah,
not
this
taping.
is streaming. Be careful.
Oh. Well, one of the things they didn't check, and it was a beach wedding, was the tides.
Oh no.
They had to move the huppah. It was like a trellis. It wasn't a Jewish wedding, but they had to move it 8 feet, or the whole thing would have fallen right into the ocean
Oh, God.
with everybody under it. And then the weather was so wild. It was this past Saturday. I don't know what the weather was like in Boston, but on Martha's Vineyard, the ocean was just wild. And it was almost scary having that as a backdrop for the wedding. I didn't know, is this a metaphor or what? And the ocean came up and created this ledge. This sort of, it looked like a cliff. It looked like a really scary cliff, but it was only like 10 feet down. But if you had gotten too close to it, it would have collapsed and you would have rolled right into the ocean and probably died. And so I thought of that movie, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. But I thought I would play for you the wedding march that I wrote. This was something that I started writing a year and a half ago, and I practiced it like crazy because I was so scared about playing a clam. But of course, a clam on a Martha's Vineyard beach wouldn't be the first clam. But also, I was supposed to play at just a certain time when and my sister, my brother-in-law actually was the officiant, and my sister walked her daughter down the aisle. So it was 2 women walking, and they gave me the sign, and I started playing, and her dress got caught on something on the other side of the sand dune. So I'm playing and playing, and there's no bride. I'm like, oh my God, fuck! But then she got unstuck, and so I actually ended up playing it twice, clam free. But I don't know. I'll see if I can do it now without any clams, and I'll show you the part where they started to walk, because the first part is just a little introduction. It's very short. That was the sign to start walking.
Oh, that was beautiful, Christine.
That
Oh,
was really beautiful.
Just
Really,
really beautiful.
They were
I
lucky
think
to
she got
listen to it
snagged on
twice.
purpose to hear it longer.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Christine, somebody ought to buy your catalog just for that, because that's
yeah.
played at every wedding in the rest of the all time. What a beautiful piece of music.
That really was.
Well, you know,
really
it's
gorgeous.
interesting. If any of you have my album On My Way to Hooterville, it's a hidden track 12, but it's actually done by 4 violas. A 15-year-old viola player named Amelia Krinke set it to, turned it into a 4 viola piece, and it's so gorgeous. And I was so hoping that they would end up playing that instead of having me have to stress through the whole thing of a live performance. But so you can listen to it if you look for the hidden track 12.
Well, I bet it's wonderful with the viola, man. It seems like it's built for that, really.
Yeah, let me tell you an interesting story about this little viola player. My cousin was her babysitter, and right after the pandemic started, this 15-year-old violist decided on her own. She did a 5 viola arrangement of New York, New York. And she posted it on YouTube as a way to, you know, when we're all clapping for the essential workers and the hospital workers in the beginning. And so every night at 7 o'clock, she would post it, and people really, really liked it. And so I sent it around to a bunch of people. And one of the people I sent it to is Danny Burstein, who is in the Broadway show Moulin Rouge. He plays the MC. And he's friends with John Kander, who wrote the music for New York, New York. Fred Ebb wrote the lyrics, and Fred Ebb died. And so Danny Burstein sent it to John Kander, and John Kander loved it and sent it to everybody in his email address book, and wrote a thank you note to Amelia Krinke, who's now she's 16. She was 15 at the time. And so I got the idea after she did that to hire her to turn my instrumental into a viola piece. And it's on the Hudson Harding, it's on their holiday compilation. We gave it a secret title, called it Solstice Dreams, because my sister was afraid, because it was the wedding march, if it was listed as Shay and Buck's wedding march before the wedding, it would put bad luck on things.
Great story, Christine.
But it turns out, but this is just how things happen. It turns out that it was her very, very first recording ever, professional recording for this 16-year-old girl. And I sent it to her when it was pressed and when she could actually hold it in her hands, not telling her it's going to be on something. I actually sent her the CD that it was on. And it was the day that her father, who is a professional musician in Colorado, classical musician, he was hit by a car and had terrible head injuries, and he lived, and he's recovering now. But it's like all of these things that have just are, one connects to the next, and it kind of it helped her at it. She needed some really good news that day, and I had no idea.
What is her name?
Her name is Amelia Krinke, Krinke. She's a
Brandy, can you find her, like, you know, a way for us to just sort of poke around and find her, if she's got a website or a Facebook thing?
Well, you know, if you Google Amelia Krinke, New York, New York,
yeah,
I think that will come up.
Yeah, I got her. I'll post something in the chat in a second.
All right, you know what? Maybe we can play that at the end of the night. Why don't you, Brandon, want to do that? Like, Brandon, can you figure that out, Brandon?
Yes, as long as it's not right now, I can make that work.
Yeah, all right. So thank you, Christine. We'll go around one more time. Let's hear it for Christine Lavin. My God, that's
Christine.
all right, Janet. This is the lightning round, which doesn't mean anything. It just means that I'm not going to talk too much. I'm taking myself out of it so that it goes a little quicker. So, you know, on your mark, get set, go, folks, and go.
Oh my goodness. Well, I wrote this song with my friend Lauren Solon, and it's a true story about his son, who's in his 30s now, but his son was like 3 or 4 years old when this story takes place. And So. It's called Real Again. Little man in his car seat, talking up a blue street. Mile after mile, we tune him out. Suddenly it's quiet, but that's not his style. Turn around to see what it's about. When in a voice not quite his own, he said, "You know, this is all just a dream." We asked, "What do you mean?" He said, "This life is part of God's dream, and when we die it will be over, then we'll be real again." Little man in his car seat, talking up a blue street. His mom and I are speechless for a while. I said, "I've been searching for truth in those books and gurus, but it's come to us in our child." When in a voice not quite his own, he said, "You know, this is all just a dream." We asked, "What do you mean?" He said, "This life is part of God's dream, and when we die it will be over, then we'll be real again. And when we die we will awaken, then we'll be real
Oh, that was beautiful, Janet. Woo!
Very much.
All right.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Janet, I love you a lot, man. I'm so glad to see you doing good. And lunch in July, right?
Lunch in July, and thanks so much for having me, Dawn. And
If you got anything you want to announce or whatever, I'm gonna keep doing these on Thursdays. I'm not sure. Just gonna right now. I'm just gonna keep doing them. We'll see what happens. But I'll pop by, play a new song, anything you want. Let people know what you're up to, anything like that. It's a good audience here. There's quite a lot of people watching it on other platforms. So it's a good way to get the word out to a targeted group who really like to support things. So everybody, one more time for Janet Feld.
thank you so much.
Hey, Janet. Woo!
Hey, Don, can you ask Janet what tuning was that in?
Oh, it's in Dadgad.
Oh.
I have
thought
I have a tuning called EGAD.
Well, Christine, I call this, and this is all your fault because of your song. I call this tuning sensitive new age guy tuning because the first person I heard play in Dadgad was David Wilcox, and he just always struck me as like the quintessential sensitive new age guy.
That's funny.
All right. Okay. So Christine.
Well, the thing is, I thought it was Dadgad because I'm going to do my last song in Dadgad too.
Nice.
Except I put the capo on too. So for any of your students watching, it's really
Cool.
not. It's dadgad, but it's.
Christine, do you have anything you want to let us know about? Are you got any shows coming up or anything like that? Or?
Well, July 4th, I'm going to be co-emceeing the Greenwich Village Folk Festival, which is going to be on Sunday, July 4th from 7 to 10. And it's got a really great lineup, and August 1st will be the next one after that. So the first Sunday of the month.
And that's on Facebook, right?
Yeah, it's Facebook and YouTube, and it's free. And it's 10 performers. And I forget who the closing act is this time. Last time it was Bill Staines.
And you've done it so incredibly well, Christine. Thank you for doing it.
Oh, well, I love all these. Don did it, and David Ippolito did it, but we got to get you back.
I know that.
To do it again.
I saw them both. And you. You did it 2 months ago. So.
Okay, Chris, take us home.
All right. This is my newest song, and this is for all of you who are. It's just the beginning of summer, and I want you to make this the best summer you've ever had in your whole life. And for you guitar players, again, it's in dadgad, but with a capo and two. There you go. Though I didn't know it at the time, it was the best summer. Hydrangeas and wind chimes, the best summer. Days were hot, nights were warm. Now and then a gentle storm would clear the air, cool things down. We'd ride our bikes to Edgartown and back. It was only me and only you. It was the best summer. Our house on Pennacook Avenue, it was the best summer. Flying horses, carousel, bunch of grapes, the inkwell. We'd gather driftwood, build a fire, watch the setting sun retire. That was many years ago. It was the best summer. Where the time went, I don't know. It was the best summer. If I knew then what I know now, yes, I would have made that vow to follow you into the sun. I did not know you were the one. I did not know that 93 would be the best summer. Was it for you? Was for me the best summer? Days were hot, nights were warm. Now and then a gentle storm would clear the air, cool things down. We'd ride our bikes to Edgartown and back. Summer. The best summer. Make this the best summer.
Awesome.
Oh, Christine, that was beautiful.
That was lovely.
Oh,
So
I can
lovely.
listen to that all summer.
Thank you. Have the
Thank
best
you.
summer, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
That is just
You
one of the
too.
songs I've ever heard. I just love it.
Christine, thanks for everything.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Janet, for everything. Thank you, Neil Braverman, for everything.
I love you. I love you. You know that.
Christine, that was
All right, one more time for Christine Lavin.
Let's do for Don White. Let's do for Don White.
Christine.
All right.
Janet, do you have anything that you want us to know about? Did you have some shows coming up or something or anything?
Yeah, I've got a couple of house concerts I'm doing in the area. It looks like Brandon put it in the chat. On Saturday, July 24th, I'm doing a house concert in Acton, Mass, and on August 21st, I'm going to do one in Salem. That one I'm going to stream as well. I'm going to do the Jack
Williams.
The Jack Williams thing and with an Ethernet cord and stuff. So I'm going to stream that one as well. But if anyone is interested in coming, my email address it's Janet at janetsplanetmusic.com. So if you're interested in coming, just RSVP and I'll get you the addresses. I'm doing it with my best friend Esther Friedman, who I've written songs with, and she's written just some of my most favorite songs, and she's just, well, I could gush for a while about that because she's one of.
And that's Salem, Mass, not Salem, New Hampshire, right?
Correct. That's Salem, Massachusetts, and
pretty close to me. I'll have to make that one.
yeah, no, I hope you can come and bring your guitar because we'd love to have you sing one. We're gonna have a little after party.
Sure. Well, so Brandon, I'm gonna do this one too, and then we'll kill the stream and play the video. How's that work?
Sounds great.
So that YouTube doesn't punish me for,
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
All right. They both took their dreams and laid them to sleep soon after their children were born. Because you need to provide kids a stable environment, and you need to be steady and strong. But occasionally he will wake up his dreams to see how they feel in his hands. And then he puts them away and goes to work the next day, an ordinary family man. Ordinary people will lay down their dreams knowing they may not see them again. And they do it for their families with strength and dignity. Ordinary women and men. Ordinary women and men. She never thought twice about devoting her life to take care of her daughter and son. She works every night at a job she don't like. She does whatever needs to be done. But occasionally she will dress up her dreams and ask them if they'd like to dance. And for an hour or so she lets herself hold her beautiful dreams in her hands. Ordinary people will lay down their dreams knowing they may not see them again. And they do it for their families with strength and dignity. Ordinary women and men. Ordinary women and men. And now they sit with each other. They wait and they wonder on the day their first grandchild is born. And those dreams seem so distant. Now everything is different, and they know they are right where they belong. But when the child is passed to them, a light passes through them. They both know, they both understand. And as they cradle that baby, they think ordinary woman and man, who are holding their dream in their hand. Ordinary people will lay down their dreams knowing they may not see them again. They do it for their families with strength and dignity. Ordinary women and men. Ordinary women and men. Ordinary women and men.
Yay, Dawn!
Thanks, Dawn.
Good luck, my friend.
All right, Dawn.
Happy belated Father's Day to everybody. So let's thank our surprise poet today, Sarah, for coming in.
You're awesome.
She's a dragonfly! Dragonfly!
Let's thank Janet Feld for bringing it.
Yay! She's a butterfly! A butterfly!
She's a
Everybody point to
fly.
your left and say goodbye to YouTube. Goodbye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Let's see, that's your right way. So again, point to your left and say goodbye. Facebook. Goodbye, Facebook.
Bye,
We love you.
Facebook.
Good luck. Bye, YouTube.